Welcome to MS Access Database. In this lecture, we will define table attributes and their data types. So previously, uh, we have defined a student table, and now we will define the attributes and their data types in the student table. So to define attributes and data types, we will switch to the design view. Currently, we are in the datasheet view, and now to define the data type and attributes, we are going to switch to the design view. So this is the design view. Here we can define the attributes of the student table. So ID, first is ID, and then student name, student name, student, let's say first name, student last name, date of birth, let's say this is student ID, date of birth, gender, and phone number. So student ID, now we have defined the attributes. So there are almost 6 attributes in the field name. We have declared the attributes, and now we will decide the data types. So student ID, that would be a number. So a number or auto number. Auto number mean it will increase automatically. So if you want that ID increase automatically, then we will select auto number. Otherwise, we will select number so that we can insert manually. But if we want to insert automatically, then we will select auto number. Let's say it's auto number, and student first name, that will be a text, a short text, and student last name, that also be a short text. Date of birth, so date of birth will be of date time, and gender will also be a short text, and phone number. Let's define another attribute, that is marks. So marks, that would be marks will be number, so its data type will be a number, not a text or something else. Okay, so this data type, here you can see we have defined the student ID as auto number and marks as number. So for marks, we will enter the data manually, but for auto number, data will be automatically inserted as we insert data into a row. So here we can write the description as for the explanation, that is optional. For example, DOB, we have just write we didn't write the complete name of the date of birth. We just explain it over here, like this attribute representing this attribute represents student date of birth. So we have defined all of the attributes and their data types, and also the explanation or the description of some of the attributes. If you want to uh, define, it's okay. If you don't want to define this explanation. So now we will switch to the datasheet view. This is design view, and if you right click on this tab, the student table tab, then we will have an option of datasheet view, and he's asking to save the table. Yes. So here you can see now we have student ID, student first name, student last name, date of birth, gender, phone number, and marks. So first we created a table student, and then we defined attributes and their data types in the design view, and now we are in the datasheet view where the data will appear. Where in the datasheet view we cannot uh, change or define the number of attributes are the, and their data types. Here we just insert the data. Okay, that is datasheet view is data sheet view basically is where the data will be inserted into the table, and you can view here the data only. And in the design view, we can define the student ID, student first name, all of the attributes of a table. So in the next lecture, we will discuss some properties of the attributes. For example, if I switch to the design view, if I click on over here in the number, so here below you can see the gen in the general field. So the properties of this data type: field size, long integer format, how it should be formatted, decimal places. So and there are other options as well. And similarly for date, here is format. If which format you want to show the date, there are different formats. Let's suppose if I select this one, date of birth 12 November, like this. So that is the medium date type. So data will be shown, that will be inserted in the student table, that will be shown like this. So so these are some of the properties relevant to the data types. We can set and format the values of the data types. And I'll switch to the datasheet view. Yes, save. So here we can insert student first name, last name, date of birth. In the date of birth, you can see it appears automatically because it's of date type. So we can select from here the date we wanted to insert and gender. So here, and phone number and marks. Here you can notice that in the date of birth, if we insert the date of there is today's 24th date. So if we insert date greater than 24th, I mean the 26th date, that will be after 2 days. So it is not showing any error or something like validation. So in the next lecture we will see if we insert date after the current date, so it will show up exception that you have inserted date that is that will be after this, after the current date. And also in the gender, so how if we show a drop down list over here, Like in gender, we fix male and female and others options rather than we manually enter male and female. Here we have not yet set the drop down list, but we can set the drop down list over here. Here we now we will insert manually. For example, male. Here I'll say William Williamson. Williamson. Uh, John, and date of birth, and then gender, phone number. So here you can see we can insert. There is no fixed format of the phone number, so we can insert as many numbers as we want. So what if we fix this? Mm, if we fix this one, the number, like if we fix it, would be seven integer, seven numbers, or it would be like 11 numbers. So in the next lecture we will deal with such issues, like we will fix the phone number using input marks mask phone number length, and then we will fix how to show a drop down list so that we can select the values from that drop down list, like male female, by using a lookup wizard. And we can fix the issue with the date, like we can insert the date after the current date, so that we will use the input validation for that to fix these kind of issues. So in the next lecture we will see how to fix these issues. Thank you very much. Stay tuned for the next lectures to resolve these issues.